So if we take home the win with some cash, we're gonna blow it off some freaking cans, brother.
Don't be mad, but I side bet on the guy you're about to race.
Where's Wayne at? We gotta go collect on some money.
I just told him, I said, where's my money, dude? After an incredible, I would say, success at FL2K, no, we did not come home with the win, but we did go rounds with Nightmare, our unknown horsepower GT500. It goes 7s, it makes a lot of boost, and it kind of goes fast, but it doesn't go really fast, and we're working on that today. We have less than 2 weeks until Mod Nationals to turn this car around, and I think we gotta speed this thing up to like a 760. First step, we gotta rip the trans back out. We got something going on. We got some slippage. We got something weird going on. The converter works pretty good for spool up, but we got something going on up top, and probably gonna be tearing everything in the engine bay apart. Let's get busy and let's drop this transmission back out. Pretty similar to the last time. These little chunks. Oh, what that is kind of disintegrates with my hands. It's actually not metal. Converter is out, trans is out. We're gonna get this gone through again, figure out what's going on, and try to get this thing to love life a lot longer. It's not blown up by any means, but it's not gonna last forever. Overheating the fluid, turning it brown. So gotta figure out what's going on between that and this and make them happy and wanna live together and make a lot of horsepower. Mod Nats prep is about to get spicy. We currently have a complete engine bay. This is what the engine bay looks like, and it's all complete. Well, we're gonna go ahead and tear everything apart and tear down valve covers, timing cover, because we about to make this a choppy boy, and hopefully get some valve spring service, because there's a theory that we might be floating the valves.
Everything's basically where we started. So we rewind like before streetcar takeover or in testing, and now we're back in the same spot because nothing seems to work.
It works. People looking at the video, they're like, dude, you're going 8.0, dude, like on the brakes. That's incredible.
To people that don't know, this thing should be like 20 mile an hour faster or something like that. We have just multiple problems. We got valve flow, we got transmission stuff not working, the converter there, we switch converters and then the transmission still isn't working.
We might have found it out, and we're not pointing blame towards anyone. We just want to find a problem and get it fixed.
So we laid them out on here's the issues it can be, and I think they found it, and hopefully that just goes well. So our good converter might not be here in time,
but we have a backup bolt together,
which we've used before, and it goes 7s, but it didn't spool very good. But we have MHS TBRs on deck. That's going to help it spool faster. And then we also have an internal dump valve that'll make it spool faster. Mm-hmm. It might make the high gear kind of mad, but we know for a fact that it does go 170 plus mile an hour. We had a giant hole in the
the wastegate.
The wastegate.
Yep.
That did not help the spooling efforts, which other converter, because even with that big hole, it was still spooling that turbo in like 3 seconds, which was just pretty neat. So we're going to get the motor under control. We're going to make some more power to do everything we want to do. But we also are doing new springs. These are kind of beat. I'll have to run them after to see how much spring pressure they actually lost. But they're the same springs. We just are going to shim them a lot and get them really close to bind. We're going to put all the higher spring pressures in the exhaust, lower spring pressures in the intake. And I've already locked these TBRs out. These are the same ones I run in chains.
They're gonna have a little bit of chop.
A little bit of chop. They're 236, 234, so reverse split, 512 lift. Yeah, they're gonna perform a lot better than those. They're gonna chop good. They're gonna make great top end performance and pull stuff faster. So doing new secondary chains, which he already had those, but we're just gonna freshen them up. Right, we're running a lot more spring pressure, so this is secondary change is really something you want to cycle in and out of the motor, like 50 to 70 passes or something like that. You don't really want to mess around with that. You break.
Yeah, these ones might be less than that, but it doesn't hurt. Yeah, and they're not that expensive.
Not expensive at all. I mean, like even if you put a Morse factory chain in it, it's better than not doing the chain.
Yep.
Like you should just do the chain.
What else we got here?
Retainers. Ooh. The BPS secondary shoes, because these factory ones get kind of beat up, and we'll take those apart and see if these are beat up or not. But typically on this guy,
so far
it looks
they
okay.
look great, dude. This motor came out of here and it looks just like when I put it together. You know, the old Texas Speed. This is the original one we put in here. These are the heads I bought brand new from Jordan. And then these are boss cams that actually came out of John's F-150 with a Whipple on it.
Which do work good. Right?
Yeah, they work great, and these are degreed in as well by Modular Head Shop. But it can be better.
Gonna be better, and we also did a BPS flip bracket with titanium bolts.
Yep. And some of you guys that aren't familiar, now cams on a VCT Coyote are, in my opinion, for most applications, not worth doing because the stock cams with VCT work incredibly well.
Yeah, they do work good.
But when you're locked out, you can get massive gains from a camshaft because with this boss cam, you have to choose what you want. Top end power, low end. You just choose and you degree it and lock it in.
It'll still make power everywhere.
Yeah. But these, a little bit more aggressive.
With the valve float fixed, and then these guys, we're probably looking at like 300 plus. If we're talking about 40 pounds of boost, we're talking about like 400 horsepower at least.
Yeah, well, I think I looked at the GoPro video, and I think the engine sound goes flat. Yeah. And I think that it doesn't sound like your typical valve float where it's a full-on hesitation, but these aren't light springs, so it's not like a stock spring floating. It just sounds like it's stopped. It's not making power there, and that's the theory. I mean, hopefully.
I would venture to say so. These are installed at, which I will measure them before I take them out. The installed height. These are probably like 80 pounds of seat pressure, which is pretty close to stock.
Yeah.
Yeah. These stock springs that come in these things are already pretty good. I used them in the truck motor, and chains as motor. I used stock springs forever, and didn't turn a ton of RPM because of the truck cams, but I never had valve float issues. But also, I didn't go to 40 pounds boost, right? So those springs ain't gonna like that. 80 pounds of seat ain't enough.
Yeah.
But those are a little worn out, so they could only be 70 pounds of seat for all we know.
Well, so we are going to go ahead and get this torn down. We do have a new set of RGR lockouts that are already degreed. We could have used these, but these were already done.
Kind of time saving.
Yeah.
I can just bolt. I can get the springs done. That's already going to take a ton of time, and then we just bolt these on.
Yep. Plus, I already sold these to help pay for that. So.
Big win. Big W.
All right, let's get started. While I banged out a little remote tune, Jason got this all torn down. What do we find?
Well, you remember that thing that looked fine earlier?
Yeah, it looked fine, dude.
Yeah, it's not fine. I mean,
that's normal for the two-step and the ethanol, and so
these factory shoes just they're not very beefy.
Yep.
So the BPS ones are a little bit beefier. So these just pop on. I mean, super easy install. Just plop them on the top. Done. They're made out of a little bit different material. But yeah, this is This is a definite upgrade you should do if you're doing all this mess, even if you're doing stock cams.
I've got this tool rigged up here.
We're measuring tip heights right now. So I've already ran all the calculations for the shim heights and all that stuff. So what I want to do, this is a fresh set of heads. And one thing Ford's very good about is when they do a set, they're all the valve heights, I mean, within like 3,000s. So we can kind of gauge off a couple and make sure that our install height is exactly the same as what I calculated in our machine. Because if it's tighter, right, we get really too close to bind height on the spring, and then we might need to take some shim out of it. This little Shane's tech tip, if you're changing springs with something like this on the engine, it's always a problem putting the keepers on. People have a hard time with them. This little guy here, you can get them on Amazon or whatever. When you're putting them on, put the magnet all the way to the bottom like that. Take you a little bit of gabagoo. It's going to help it stick on the lock groove. And then when you go in here, just shoot it in the top like that. Push down, you're done. And flip it around to the other side. So we'll just move it 180. Grab the other one. All the way to the bottom. Little gabagoo. Done. And then all the way up. Just like that.
Bang, bang. And one head is done.
One head is done. Now we can do the other side.
Now, luckily, the cams are already degreed.
Yes.
So
We ain't got to do that. But to be honest with you, if I had to degree these on the motor, the Coyote's so easy that it wouldn't have took me but maybe 90 minutes. It would have took me longer to assemble the lockouts. But yours are already locked out.
Yep.
So they already had locks on them. So if I had to sit there and redo that, it probably wouldn't take very long, to be honest with you. It'd probably take 90 minutes, if that, to do those, because the secondaries on the Coyote float. It's not like the 4-valve where you move the exhaust, you're going to have a problem. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to file keyways. We don't have to do anything. We can set the exhaust, go to the intake, set that, lock everything down, we're done. So, a lot easier on the Coyote.
Well, I didn't film it, guys, but we stabbed the engine back in. We got a little bit of work to do, but we have made great strides, and we're honestly, we're almost there. We just need the transmission back. We'll get the turbo kit back on, and we'll be rocking here soon, making some choppy boy noises. It is Tuesday. Mod Nationals is Thursday. Qualifying is Friday. There's a test session Thursday. If we can get our stuff together, we're gonna make a test pass. We found a problem with the transmission. Well, FTI did. So there was an issue with the input shaft, and basically, we'll drop the picture in here. The support bushing was blocking the flow of transmission fluid on the input shaft. Well, they got that replaced, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that should be the problem. We are waiting for UPS to show up with the converter. The converter we sent out to have checked, and there was no issue with the converter, but we did find an issue with the transmission, and we got new clutches and just your basic rebuild, new band, and the transmotion should be hopefully ready to go. Hopefully no slip this time. And between all of the upgrades we've done, the cams, fixing the trans, springs, this thing should absolutely fly, and hopefully we can go that bottom 8, high 7 on significantly lower boost. That is the goal, to make this more efficient, make it happy, and make it live a long life. So we got to finish putting the rest of the turbo kit on. Most of the wiring is here, so that's not too big of a deal. I know I did the cylinder head ground. I'm gonna plug in the injectors and some basic stuff.
Hey, this is Jared with Flow Lab. I'm doing a set of injectors for Andrew Mustang Lifestyle today. I'm doing these on the bench that I built myself. It runs off a microcontroller powered by 2 Milwaukee batteries, so it's completely mobile. I can do this at the track, which is what I plan to do in the future. Designed the app myself, wrote the code myself, everything. So I set it up so that I can vary voltage, I can vary fuel pressure, and I can do high or low impedance injectors all in one microcontroller. These are some 2600cc injectors that I'm going to flow for them. I'll show you my process real quick. So I go in the app, connect to Bluetooth, select the type of injector, type of test I want to do, and then once I turn this fuel pump on, you'll see the test run. Alright, so I'm going to flow injector number 1. Like that. I weigh that normally before and after. Use my scale. It's much more accurate than any graduated cylinder you could ever attempt to do with. Most likely more accurate than any flow cell you could do either. So that's why I like to use the scale. We'll get all these injectors cleaned through the ultrasonic cleaner and get them flowing most likely within like 2 to 3%. Right now they look to be about 6% on average, so we can get that quite a bit better. These high horsepower engines, you know, a little bit of fuel difference can be quite a bit when you're flowing, you know, 3,500 cc of fuel at, you know, 60, 70 psi or even higher. I think he said his base is 58, so it goes up around 90 psi with the amount of boost he's running. It's a 1-to-1 regulator, so I also can do that type of testing. That way you know that that injector is firing properly at whatever fuel pressure you're running, especially for those mechanical fuel pump guys. If you ever had any questions, give me a call. I got a Facebook, message me. Jared at Fuel Lab. Thanks.
After a couple two-step checks, I am going to be pulling the transmission out again, and my NAT starts tomorrow.
Well, at least it'll be right. I'm very confident. Well, we should have just did this to begin with.
So basically, the problem is we have big lumpy camshafts, which should spool this thing faster. Thought we found a problem with the trans. The trans shop said they thought they found a problem. The charge pressure is really high. It's taking 8 seconds to spool.
8.5 seconds to get the full boost.
I mean, that's just not going to work. And the charge pressure being so high, it can push the converter up against the what's that called?
Thrust bearing.
Thrust bearing, that thing, and it can hurt things. So
yeah, we're not tearing a motor up for that. So we're
not to mention 8 seconds of spool time is not competitive. It's
you're asking for favors in the lanes, and you know they don't have to do it. So
no.
You know, you get
So-
one guy that's like easy win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we're gonna go tear this transmission back out again. BRB.
Hey, Andrew, how you liking the auto life, bro?
You know, if there were a Mag XL here, there's still a clutch pedal sitting up there, bro.
What number is this?
I don't know, but I can tell you every bolt size by heart. We can jumble all the bolts in a bag, shuffle them all together, blindfold me. I can pull them out by my hand and tell you which bolts they are.
What's the cross member bolt socket
18.
size? What's the converter bolt size?
16 and a 5/8, either or, whatever you can find.
Oh my God! And okay, well we'll take this thing down to Michael and let him fix it.
Yeah.
And hopefully,
Dude, it's still hot.
Yeah.
Like, I can feel the heat coming off.
yeah, that converter's probably still like 300-400 degrees right now. So I need to go get some tacos and let it cool down. And hopefully tomorrow you can put it back in and then irritate me a bunch that it works and you're happy.
2.5 seconds is
2 second spool time, all that jazz. So hopefully this works out.
Okay, 9:12 ETA. It is 7 a.m. We are going to get the Powerglide rebuilt. Got a 2-hour drive, and this is Jason's guy. He said he's got this. He's gonna figure it out. It's not technically a rebuild. We need to figure out what's wrong with it. So it's early. I need to go get coffee. But let's go. We are on our way back. We got another hour left. We got the transmission all torn apart. Mike at National Transmission, he tore it apart real quick without hesitation. Put a restrictor in the pump, and we found a few other little things that, you know, maybe weren't ideal, but there was no smoking gun as to what was wrong. And like I told you, what was wrong was high charge pressure. So by putting a restrictor in the pump, we should be able to lower that charge pressure, which should speed up spool time and also save the thrust washer from pushing forward and the crank from pushing forward because the charge pressure is too high. So we're gonna get this thing back in the car. We're gonna get this thing trans brake tested, and we're gonna hopefully load up and head out to Mod Nationals. We're not gonna make the test session today, but qualifying starts tomorrow. So if all goes according to plan, we will be good. My backup plan, if it's not right, we'll take the Marauder to Mod Nationals, but they have an 11.0 grosser getter class, which obviously we know the Marauder has been a 10.1. It's significantly faster than 11.0, but that was the only class that seems like it fits in. But it would be fun to race that, and funny enough, you can win $2,000 in that class with an 11-second car, or you can win $3,000 in the class that I'm shooting for. The math doesn't really make sense, but we're sending it. We're sending it. So hopefully we'll be back soon. I'm gonna get some coffee because I'm tired. Slam this transmission in. Cody should be testing his car at SGMP tonight. We're hopefully gonna click off an 8-second pass with that this weekend. If not, at least some 9.1s, 9.0s, something like that. Mike, National Performance Transmission. Got us rebuilt this morning. All right, let's go back in. We didn't really do a full rebuild. The clutches were fine. We just had to jet the pump and kind of did a walkthrough, fixed a few things up. Hopefully this should be it. Okay, transmission is back in. Got to fill it up and two-step check it, and hopefully it works. So here's the status. Car runs, it drives, we got a little leak, I just fixed that. Goes on the trans brake, it's still really slow to spool, which is a little disappointing. But the theory is, well, this turbo It's not spinning the best. There's a few things that are fighting us here. We also think that the transmission has been slipping this whole time, and now that we actually have some trans pressure, it's tight. Everything's tight, and it's really hard to spool up. That's the theory. What we're gonna do at this point, I've already done like 3 trans brake tests. There's no point in just overheating this thing and getting all mad. We're gonna load it in the trailer, get out to Mon-Nats, and we'll figure it out there. Hopefully we can get the spool up time a little bit faster. You know, obviously having a big 98 does not help. It needs horsepower to basically push through and get to the limiter, to get to the 2-step. And well, if you're not making any boost, this thing really doesn't make very much power without boost. It's 450 horsepower, you know? So that's kind of your dealio going on there. We're gonna load it in. I'm probably not gonna put the bumper in because it's a little bit easier to load without the bumper on. And we'll just get this thing going. So this video has been a ride. You know, ups and downs. It sounds freaking sick with the cams. It's unfortunate that it seems that the changes made to the trans have made it tighter, and the changes we made this morning, I think, made it safe enough to where we're not going to be worrying about the trans pressure being too high. But unfortunately, with whatever was fixed, trans pressure is high and it's hard to spool up, and we got a big turbo, and there's a lot of things going on, but this trans has always slipped. So in theory, if what I'm thinking is true and the transmission is working, things are just tight to spool up, this thing should absolutely fly on track because the slip should be very minimal. That's the theory. Anyway, guys, it's been a long road. I gotta go get packed up for Mon-Nats. Look out for that video. I think we're in a good state to bring the car there, minus the spool up time. It kind of sucks because we had it at 3.6 seconds for FL2K. We're just gonna have to work on it, grind, maybe add another dump valve. We'll figure her out, but make sure you support the channel. Just comment, like, subscribe. We're putting out crazy videos, and I've worked my butt off on this car all week. So show some love. We'll see you guys in the next one.